So Kathleen Kennedy is a big figure over at Lucasfilm and of the entire Star Wars franchise that the community has had a lot of issues with ever since the release of The Last Jedi and the backlash it received and what she actually approved for Rian Johnson to do to the character of Luke and different plot points in the movie. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that we do know about The Rise of Skywalker is that it was a very shaky production. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Kathleen Kennedy talked about this, JJ did, even Bob Iger, Mary Ann Brandon, Chris Terrio, and even some of the actors and actresses involved with Episode 9 is that this was by far the most difficult production out of all the Disney Star Wars movies, out of all the 5 Star Wars films that they have produced. And that really does speak volumes to us, the Star Wars fans, right? Because it tells us that they went through so many obstacles, so many hoops here in order to get this movie done. They had to do reshoots, they had to do rewrites, they had to remodel the movie twice at points in 2018 and 2019. And it's one of the main reasons as to why this movie feels very convoluted and rushed in the first and parts of the second act of Episode 9. Now, Kathleen Kennedy as a figure over at Lucasfilm, this is the thing here about Kathleen Kennedy is that we do know that she's very incompetent over at Lucasfilm for the Star Wars franchise. It's one of the main reasons as to why a lot of creatives had creative differences with her. However, when it comes to The Rise of Skywalker, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are moving on to the future of the Star Wars franchise with their new Star Wars universe, many fans have been very concerned about exactly how Disney and Lucasfilm will handle the new Star Wars projects moving forward. Now, during the production of The Rise of Skywalker, many changes and adjustments were made by Kathleen Kennedy throughout this process in order to change the tone of the overall film for a more general audience. It's noted that a majority of George Lucas's scenes that he directed and wrote for the film were deleted from the movie because Kathleen Kennedy had many issues and was frustrated over the creative decisions between George Lucas, J.J. Abrams, and Chris Terrio. Kathleen Kennedy deleted more than 60% of George's scenes because she was not impressed with them and that these scenes were not 100% complete because of Kathleen Kennedy stepping in to initiate rewrites and reshoots to reshape the film for the audience. Now, it's explained that many of George's scenes had to do with Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, and even alternate scenes between Rey and Kylo Ren, such as the flash fights and callbacks to the originals and prequels that were deleted as well. Now, it's also noted that it was George's and JJ's idea for the Dark Acolyte to be controlled by Palpatine's spirit that Kathleen Kennedy also was frustrated over as well when she saw the scenes being put together in post-production, and that this is the main reason as to why the physical version of Palpatine is present more so in the final version of the film by Disney. Kathleen Kennedy wanted to focus less on these scenes and replace them with others. So the thing about Kathleen Kennedy is that we do know that she is very incompetent over at Lucasfilm. This is another prime example as to why I believe, at least, that she needs to be replaced ASAP. We do know that Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, is currently looking for a replacement for Kathleen Kennedy for sometime in 2021, which makes a lot of sense because her contract will be up at that point in time. It's just a matter of whether or not Kathleen Kennedy decides to stay. And obviously, now the fact that Disney's CEO Bob Iger will also be leaving in 2021, he wants to leave Star Wars in good hands. Now, when you look at Bob Iger, obviously he too is also to blame because he allowed Kathleen Kennedy to stay on board after The Last Jedi and everything related to it in that sense. Now, what could have been with The Rise of Skywalker is very unfortunate. It's very sad of what we could have actually gotten in this movie, all because of Kathleen Kennedy deleting many of the scenes, rewriting elements, initiating these rewrites, forcing JJ and Chris, and even George to actually adjust the movie and to put those other scenes to the wayside. Again, like I say, it's the main reason as to why the art book of The Rise of Skywalker was delayed all the way until March of this year, is because they're taking out a lot of that scrapped material and putting new material in there that exists in the actual movie itself. So that to me does tell a lot there. Not just that, but also the audiobook, I believe, of the novelization was also completely canceled. But the actual art book is coming. The audiobook was canceled and the novelization was delayed, and that's about it. So obviously that has something to do with the script rewrites and the adjustments that took place in August, September, and October. And like I've said before, Kathleen Kennedy, you know, say what you will about Rogue One, a lot of fans love Rogue One. I just feel that when we look at what she has done with the Skywalker saga, the sequel trilogy films, really just not, you know, on point as they could have been. They really could have been so much more if they modeled them maybe a little bit more after Heir to the Empire, if they wanted to do something like that, or, you know, basing it more so on Star Wars Legends. I think it would have been more of a connection to the dedicated Star Wars fans, and I think the new Star Wars fans would have also enjoyed it on top of that. So, like I say, guys, let me know what you think about Kathleen Kennedy, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.